Today we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives, from our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Welcome to Bill Myers Inspires. My idea for this show was to invite guests and get the conversation started, to take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. And we encourage our listeners to look within themselves to take decisive action to make a positive difference. Welcome to Bill Myers Inspires. I am your host, Bill Myers, and wow, I am excited to be here today, as I am every week. And today I decided to take a gander at the lie. The lie. I would like to tell you that that has been a subject and a topic that has been of great interest to me and many people in the world, and many people in America in particular, based on our political circumstance over the last 3.5, 4 years for sure. The lie. We have a masterful and person who occupies the White House, who has engaged in tens of thousands of lies just since he's been in office. So one must be able to understand that if that is the case in the last 3.5, 4 years, that we have the media and everyone has taken notice of and sort of tracked that count. I mean, we're in 25, 30,000, some insane amount. It really calls into question, what does that mean for the preceding 74 years of this gentleman's life? We would be in millions, clearly. And these are just the ones that were stated publicly, these tens of thousands that the media has been tracking. And it's been a huge distraction, because when you say something, then someone's looking to verify it and whether it's true or not. And by the time they look at that, there's 15 others lies that have cascaded in, and it's virtually impossible. It's enough to scramble your mind, cross your eyes, twist your head around. And, I think that there is a cause and effect with regards to the lie and engaging in the lie. So I thought I would take a look at the lie, the idea of the lie today. As many of us who engage in technology, I've had my share of technical challenges this week. And so spending lots and lots of time researching the topic of the lie and preparing all of this for today's show, if I were to tell you that, I would be telling you a lie. Now, what I can tell you that is the truth is that it has been something that has kept me up at night. It has been something that I've continuously thought about as a topic. And I thought, particularly given the circumstances that are going on in our political climate in America at this very time and in this moment, I thought it was probably the time to address the lie. So I would like to start. I've got tons of paper here, and I apologize. I know that the paper shuffling can be quite a bit of a distraction to you. So if you'll bear with me, I hope that this won't be a colossal waste of your time, and you will find this informative. I was able to pull up some information online, and I was sort of scanning through this stuff. So I don't like to do too much heavy prep, meaning I'm going to position myself as said expert. No, I'm referencing the same things. It's called a Google search and consulting with trusted people that I hold in confidence and exploring this topic. And many of them said, hey, Bill, jump right into that. I can't wait to hear what you unearth. And so we are going to unearth this together. And first of all, I would like to start off with the idea of what is the lie? The lie goes by many, many, many names, euphemisms, synonyms, what have you. But they're all the lie. And so the lie goes by terms such as falsehood, fraudulence, deception, hyperbole, untruth, fib, distortion, fiction, tall tale, fabrication, aspersion, deceit, inaccuracy, misstatement, myth. And the one that has really caught my attention, of course, there are many, many others to mention here in this list because there are so many lies. Lies are part of our life. And in this particular instance, they happen to be the sole basis of our political arena at this time. But the word that I hear most often today, besides fake news and all that sort of thing, is the word disinformation. Disinformation. And I just find it amazing that we can come up with so many very kind sort of spins on the idea of the lie. The lie is the lie. Some time ago, I would say probably about 5-6 years ago, I was sort of surfing on Netflix and came across a fascinating documentary by a professor. And the entire focus of this documentary was on the lie. It was on lies and deception. And it was quite fascinating. I think it was about 90 minutes long and explored all kinds of variations on this theme of the lie. But the most telling part was how the show opened and how it concluded. And it concluded and opened on one simple truth, and that is this: we all lie. We all lie. So now that we have an understanding that lying is indeed a part of our growth and a part of our development, it's a part of our conditioning, it's a part of our lives. There are different kinds of lies, of course. And we will explore that throughout the show as we get a little bit further into it. But the one thing I wanted to hit was the idea of why do we lie? Why do we lie? And I came across this really wonderful short piece by a woman named Renee Hoekstra. And it was an article that she wrote entitled "The Benefits of Telling Lies," which is more appropriately, I believe, why we tell lies. And so, if you will indulge me, I would like to get into the details of what she says here. Why do we tell lies? Well, lying helps us avoid confrontation. Getting the person doing the confronting pacified or calmed down. The person lying doesn't know or have the answers. It may be easier to go along with what is being implied or being made explicit and verbal than to face the unknown, unsaid, or unarticulated. The person is trying to save face or look good. Sometimes it's easier to make up things than to risk disappointing people. The person lying is disorganized. He or she may have planted so many lies or has so much confusion about keeping people away from the truth that the lying has become a habitual form of avoiding what's really going on. As a way of life, this is a great deal of confusion about what is real, what is accurate, and what is factual. Why do we lie? Fear. Fear is another one. It is just plain scary to dig inside, look at the truth, face the facts, and confront reality. Before we go further, I just want to expound on this one idea here that she just mentioned, which was the person lying is disorganized. They may have planted so many lies or have so much confusion about keeping people away from the truth that the lying has become a habitual form of avoiding what's really going on. This seems to be a very clear indicator of how a lie begets another lie in order to keep it going. It is true that one can lie so much they're tripping over themselves, and the only way to attempt to stay on their feet is to continue to lie. That's the only thing that will help them maintain balance. I've seen people do this. I must say that is not a practice that I engage in, the idea of perpetual lying. I just think it is at the very least a slippery slope. So lies compound more lies. And I just think that at some point, this does have a very devastating effect on our sense of reality and our sense of what the truth is. And this is when it can be a pretty bad thing. So I want to continue diving into this, and we're just scratching the surface right now, and we're talking about why people lie, and I will continue on this train when we come back after our first break. But I do find it very fascinating that even in exploring the topic of the lie, I can identify people who there are benefits. They state there are benefits. They state that there are devastating and negative effects. But nonetheless, I guess the main thing is understanding that it is a part of your life and my life. And as the documentarian on the Netflix documentary on lies and deception said, we all lie. You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires right here on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back in just one moment.
Today, we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives. From our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bill Myers Inspires, as he and his guests take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. Emmy Award-winning actor Bill Myers is an accomplished actor, jazz musician, filmmaker, writer, educator, and speaker. As a biracial man who's both black and white, Bill leverages his background, talent, and voice through creativity, compassion, and connection as activism for social justice to focus on uniting the divide and compelling change. Bill Myers Inspires encourages listeners to look within themselves and take decisive action to make a positive difference. For more information, visit his website, billmyersinspires.com, and sign in for the latest news and updates.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires here on the Inspired Choices Network. We're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. And now, let's get back to the conversation. We are back. We are back. Sorry about that. You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires, and today we are addressing the lie. We're taking a dive into the topic of the lie to gain a better understanding of pros and cons, benefits, what have you, and to understand that it is a part of every one of our lives. So, here we go. So I was reflecting on and sharing information from an article by Renee Hoekstra. And the title of the article is The Benefits of Telling Lies. I think more accurately is Why We Lie. I think it's a better, more fitting perspective on the article that she wrote. So here we go. We're going to continue on this list of why we lie. The person doing the confronting has a low tolerance for ambiguity. Thus, there is a high insistence or demand for concrete answers. If the person being confronted doesn't have a clear way to paint the picture more accurately, he or she may not know how to correct what is being implied. If the person doing the lying doesn't have an accurate way to look inside, and come up with a description of self-experience, lying can be feasible. This may be the case of the person simply doesn't have the words for what they feel, notice, or experience, so they don't bother. If a person has a history of going along with the flow or doing what the environment is prompting him or her to do, lying will be a behavior that is extremely difficult to change. Automatic pilot behavior is behavior that is not always conscious, and although it may result in painful consequences later, being confronted about lying, it can be the easy thing to do in the moment. Putting words on experience is one of the what skills of mindfulness. Paying attention to experiences within the skin encourages clients to accurately look inside, so to speak, and to get better at describing what exactly is going on. Looking inside can be rather aversive and sometimes even painful. Mindfulness is a conscious effort to be aware. It may mean paying attention and interrupting a history of automatic pilot behavior. Over time, being able to accurately put words on experiences, to be assertive and have a legitimate voice can be rewarding. Not only can it give persons a sense of confidence, but it can empower them with adequate words for their pieces of truth. They can also share observations and perspectives that may have been previously silenced. Hard? Of course. Worth it? Absolutely. This article is by Renee Hoekstra, dealing with why we lie. Next up is a piece that I came across that deals with an article. The article is, "This is why lying is good for you." I thought I would start here because we automatically have all of the negatives as it relates to lying in our minds. When we associate a lie, we don't normally associate it with being some positive benefit. And this is where I can wrap my arms around many of us who have engaged in lying with the idea of it having some sort of positive and affirming outcome. So this article comes to us from bestlifeonline.com. And it states, from a young age, we're taught to believe that lying is a cardinal sin, one that can easily lose us friends, opportunities, and instantly make us seem untrustworthy if we're found out. However, in spite of how often we're told that no good can come from lying, that's not always true. In some cases, lying's benefits actually far outweigh those you'd get from telling the truth. In fact, lying is more than just a means of getting out of awkward situations or making ourselves important. Research suggests learning to lie is actually an important developmental milestone. I'm going to state that again. In fact, lying is more than just a means of getting out of awkward situations or making ourselves out important. Research suggests learning to lie is actually an important developmental milestone. Oh. So, before you decide that honesty is the best policy across the board, discover why lying is good for you. And when you do want tangible ways to improve your life, start with the 40 best ways to keep new habits. Now, here are some examples of when lying is a good thing. Lying can make you more productive. A few white lies around the office aren't the end of the world. In fact, they may even boost your productivity. Telling an overbearing boss that you're doing a project on his or her exact schedule when in fact you're working on a timeline that works better for you can help you appease the powers that be while allowing you to prioritize your own skills and needs. And when you do what you want to get more productive, check out the 15 ways to double your productivity. They're hawking, of course, other articles within this series, but I want to talk about this notion of lying can make you more productive. So I have a long career as an actor, and I recall, common practice for many is sort of embellishing, inflating resumes and things like that. And I learned a while back that that's not a good practice, because you could wind up stating that you participated in some particular show, not knowing that the person you're talking to sitting across the table is the person who directed that piece or was the costumer for that piece, and you can be busted. And there's nothing worse. I just can't imagine being busted like that. However, I will tell you that there are many times in a casting situation, and I would imagine in a job interview for most of our listeners, where you may be asked a question of a capability or a skill that you may have. And when asked that question, you answer in the affirmative, yes. And so, and you just hope and pray that the question sort of stops there and doesn't go any further, because then you will be immediately found out. Case in point, I went in for a commercial audition, a TV commercial that was promoting the Pan American Games, a sporting event, which was being hosted in Indianapolis, Indiana. I believe it took place in 1987. Anyway, sometime in 85, mid 85, I got called in for this audition, and I got in the room, and they, had me do my slate. Hi, my name's Bill Myers. I'm with such and such agency. And I go through all that. They're asking me some questions. The script had like one line on it, and it required a Hispanic accent, which I had that together. And then the director asked me if I played soccer. And without much hesitation, I said, yes. And then he did the thing that I hoped he wouldn't do, which was, what position did you play? The only position that I could name was goalie. And I said, goalie. And he said, great. That's exactly what we're looking for. I remember leaving that audition and going into the hall. They had a gentleman there who was an actual soccer coach who was from like Brazil. And he stepped into the room to do the lines with me. When I stepped out and was going to my car, he was wandering out also. The shoot was like 2 days from the time of that audition. I walked up to that man and I said, sir, I have never played soccer before in my life, and I would really appreciate it if you would work with me, give me some hints, tips. Now, I do come from an athletic background. I played football, American football. I was a quarterback, and I can name all the positions on that team. But so I knew that the physicality of sort of leaping through the air and smashing into the ground and all these sorts of things was something that I knew quite a bit about. I knew that the goal of the goalie was to keep the ball from going in the goal. Okay. I knew that a goalie could use their hands. I knew certain things, however, which I would say are sort of common knowledge, but also some transferable skills from playing football. So I did step into a big lie, and I was very grateful when this man from Brazil, who was a high school soccer coach in Indianapolis, Indiana, said that he would work with me. We actually showed up an hour before the shoot, which I think started at about 6:30 a.m. and ran all day. We showed up at about 5:30, and he gave me about 5 tips, and he hooked me up. I did the spot. It was a national spot. And it was really wonderful. And but that happened because I lied. And in that instance, I do believe that there have been many times that I've been asked over the years whether I was capable of doing something, and I said yes. I stepped into it not knowing at all, and I still do that. And part of that's because I have not really discovered the edge of my ability. There are many things that once I set my mind to it, I will do. I'm a research hound, as you can tell. And so I will do whatever it takes to be ready when I'm there to be ready. So I do that mostly to challenge myself, and try to find my edges. I've not found them quite yet. I've had some very difficult ones that took me all the way to the edge, but I did not fall off the cliff. So I'm grateful for all of that. But these are not the kinds of things that I believe brought harm to another individual. Just allowed me to stay up all night and have sleepless nights and burn the candle at both ends. So that's my story. You are listening to Bill Myers Inspires right here on the Inspired Choices Network. We are talking about the lie today. I appreciate you for joining with us today, and hang in there. We'll be right back in just one moment.
Today, we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives, from our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bill Myers Inspires, as he and his guests take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. Emmy Award-winning actor Bill Myers is an accomplished actor, jazz musician, filmmaker, writer, educator, and speaker. As a biracial man who's both black and white, Bill leverages his background, talent, and voice through creativity, compassion, and connection as activism for social justice to focus on uniting the divide and compelling change. Bill Myers Inspires encourages listeners to look within themselves and take decisive action to make a positive difference. For more information, visit his website, billmyersinspires.com, and sign in for the latest news and updates.
You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires here on the Inspired Choices Network. We're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. And now, let's get back to the conversation.
We're back, and I want to thank you for joining into today's show on the lie. I appreciate all of your support and encouragement on the show. I'm grateful when people reach out to me and let me know that they were listening, and that's an awesome thing because I do it for you, and I certainly hope that you're able to get something out of it. By the way, you may notice that I am a pretty serious coffee drinker, so I will be looking for coffee sponsors sometime in the near future, as well as a nice little mug sponsorship. So, was that a lie? I don't. Actually, that was the truth. So I want to continue with lying and what these possible benefits of lying and when lying is a good thing. I just confessed my sins just a moment ago, and I will continue. Lying can make you a better friend. Now, lying can make you a better friend. So what do we mean by that? What we mean by that is lying isn't just telling tall tales. Lies of omission can actually improve your friendships. For instance, if your friend has been hard at work on a diet for a year, but you can't see the results, telling them they look great will still make them feel good. Sometimes being kind is better than being completely honest. There's a thought. I experienced that sort of thing probably when mostly probably when I was teaching school, because there are young people who need all the encouragement in the world. And so sometimes being able to extend beyond their troubles and all of that to offer encouragement and support on their journey. Sometimes that often does entail what I guess we would say is a lie for the benefit of encouraging them, making them feel good. So I relate to that one. Now, this one says lying can boost your mood. While it may seem like lying would make you feel bad, the opposite may be true. In fact, research suggests that depressed people may be more realistic than their non-depressed counterparts because of their overly realistic worldview. It turns out the cure for the blues may be a little self-delusion. So this is in dealing with some self-talk. So, and so I do believe that we can talk ourselves into a better state of mind by engaging in a lie or a hope, perhaps, is how we would put that out there. So another is lying can smooth out parenting stresses. Now that sort of connects to what I was just saying a minute ago about teaching, because I do consider being a school teacher, being a parent to every one of these kids, at least for the period of time that they are in your room. You are the responsible adult in that room, and you are the parent for all intents and purposes. Ask any parent and they'll tell you taking care of kids is no easy feat. The good news, a few white lies about whether or not you've got enough cash in your wallet for that toy or the hours of your local ice cream shop can help keep things peaceful. No harm done. Lying can improve your relationship. While outright lies about fidelity, money, or other big issues can be relationship deal breakers, a few lies of omission may actually improve your relationship in the long run. Keeping details of previous relationships private or maintaining a little mystery will help keep your relationship from becoming stagnant. There you have it. Lying can help keep you on track toward your goals. It's easy to feel defeated when you're working toward a goal, but feel like you can feel like you're falling short. Fortunately, a little self-delusion, that self-talk again, whether you're telling yourself that your 10 minutes at the gym was a great effort, or that starting to save tomorrow instead of 10 years ago is just as good, can help keep you on track instead of making you feel like there's no choice but to give up. There you go. Another is lying makes you a more effective boss. Honesty isn't always the best policy if you're an employer. Telling an employee or coworker you're not as smart as you seemed in your interview isn't going to do a lot of good when you're trying to improve their performance. A few white lies can be a great motivational tool, after all. And when you do this, you are sure to find better results in your employees. Lying can boost your negotiation skills. Want to pay below sticker price on a new car or negotiate a raise? Lying will definitely come in handy. Lying about a better offer or saying you're ready to walk out the door when you're not getting your way can help you get what you want. And it's pretty much expected anyway. There it is. Lying can help you confront your fears. Telling yourself a few small lies can help you overcome those fears in a hurry. If you're worried about leaving a bad relationship or quitting your job for a new opportunity, telling yourself that everything will be okay, even when there's no evidence to back it up, can help give you a push, the push that you need to move forward. Lying can improve our self-esteem. You may not see a supermodel in the mirror looking back at you, but that doesn't mean it's not worth telling yourself a few white lies to that effect anyway. Telling yourself a few small lies can boost your self-confidence and may even be a better self-fulfilling prophecy. When you feel more confident, you want to work just that much harder because of it. That's pretty awesome. So what we know here is that we just explored why we lie. And then we just talked about benefits of lying. And it's a very, very complicated issue because lies take on so many different forms. Again, as I rattled off all of these synonyms and whatnot, I just think that it's so important that we are able to understand that a lie has a role, or that lies do have a role in our everyday life. And that it is something that we do, that we all do. I believe the issue here at the end of the day has to do with the word intent. Intent. What is the intent of the lie? Is it to sort of boost yourself up? Is it to, and that can happen in so many ways, in the eyes of others. So I tell them something they may want to hear, or I tell them something that might get a specific type of response out of them that will be favorable toward me. And I think that those are things that we do engage in, but I think it opens up deeper questions, which is, what is it inside of us that is lacking, that requires us to move in an external fashion, to engage in lies or some sort of falsehood so that someone else might think differently about us. There seems to be the conflict between perhaps what we know to be true about ourselves and what we like about ourselves and we don't like about ourselves. And then that opens up the can of worms about, well, how I want to be seen differently by someone else. I don't want them to see the real me. And that's a whole other question, a whole other exploration, a whole other soul-searching session to answer that. But For many, it's just better to avoid that because that requires us going deep, right? That requires us to be truthful with ourselves. And that can be painful. To confront our own truth can be quite painful. My question, though, is I don't understand why we don't bring that truth and honor that truth and that pain and find a way to love on that. Seems like a far better way to go than for me to create, or any of us to create, this false perception of who we are and to try to sell that to someone else. And then when they accept it, then we feel better about ourselves. I wonder if we just feel better about ourselves in that moment. And if that is an affirmation that we are really pretty wounded and hurting inside. Something to think about. You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires right here on the Inspired Choices Network. Today we are talking about the lie. And we'll be right back in just a moment.
Today, we are facing some of the greatest challenges of our lives, from our health to political unrest, the environment, financial uncertainty, and the nation's racial divide. Tune in every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Bill Myers Inspires, as he and his guests take a deep dive into the issues that impact our world with an eye to exploring solutions. Emmy Award-winning actor Bill Myers is an accomplished actor, jazz musician, filmmaker, writer, educator, and speaker. As a biracial man who's both black and white, Bill leverages his background, talents, and voice through creativity, compassion, and connection as activism for social justice to focus on uniting the divide and compelling change. Bill Myers Inspires encourages listeners to look within themselves and take decisive action to make a positive difference. For more information, visit his website, billmyersinspires.com, and sign in for the latest news and updates.
You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires here on the Inspired Choices Network. We're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. And now, let's get back to the conversation.
We're back. You're listening to Bill Myers Inspires. I'm your host, Bill Myers. I want to give a shout out to my producer out there. I never sort of name her, but Keisha, I love you. You guys do a great job. Christine, you've done a great job with this network. I just want to give a shout out to all the peeps behind the scenes that you can't see, and they do a fantastic job. And I am not lying. Okay, so let's get one thing straight. Just a moment ago, I was talking about the idea of how painful the soul-searching process can be, and for us to accept the truth of who we are. And there is one important piece that I must say before we leave that, which is simply through the painful soul-searching process of identifying and accepting the truth of who we are, flaws and all. I truly believe that we can emerge into the world far stronger than we ever were before. Because you can't hurt me if I already know who I am. I know where my flaws are. I accept those things. I am working on those things. I'm not running from those things. I am working on those things. It takes great courage to take a hard look at yourself. It takes great courage to do that type of soul searching. But I assure you that once you emerge from that, there is nothing that anyone can do and or say that can tear me down, because I already did that. And I built me back up. So I accept me. I accept me flaws and all, and I only ask that you do the same. So I don't really have to be bothered with trying to lie to you. I don't want to waste my time starting down that slippery slope and then having to create yet another lie and another lie. So now I would like to get to the negative effect of a lie and how powerful a negative effect of lying can be. I mentioned before that the occupant of the White House is engaged in tens of thousands of lies that the media has calculated just during the 3-4 years that he has occupied the White House. I don't think he's ever occupied the position. I don't think he's ever taken responsibility for the position. But I will say that in this instance, lying is horrible because it is about the repetition of a lie, the repetition of a lie, the repetition of a lie. At some point, there are people that are vulnerable. There are people that will start to believe. There are people that will start to hear what you are saying, believe it, and then they will start to believe that everything's inverted, that up is down and down is up. Ladies and gentlemen, in America, we just had an election. It was challenged in some instances, rightfully so, where the ballot count is close, the number of votes is close. Yes, it makes sense to challenge this thing. But what we have going on from the occupant of the White House is something far more destructive. And many of his colleagues that are within the Republican Party and or some of these folks who are complicit in this lie, who are continuing to perpetuate the lie. Many of these people said prior to this person occupying the White House that he was a buffoon, he was a clown, he was a liar, he was all these things. Now they've cozied up to him, and now they are questioning the legitimacy of an American election, this thing that the entire democratic process and America's foundation is built on. I think that they are doing much harm to many, many people, creating lots of confusion. I'm not too sure that that wasn't the end goal, and I do not understand why when we are far stronger in a unified position. But yet and still, as I think about America and its greatness, is that a lie? When I think about America, that is that is we the people. I'm not sure that they meant for it to be all people. I think that there are certain interpretations that go back to the original document where minorities were not people, they were property. And women were like a fraction of a person. I believe that that there is perhaps a greater lie at stake beyond those uttered by the occupant of the White House and his cronies. Are we facing a potential lie that we are all equal? Remember, the truth of that document, the Constitution, said that Black people were property, and they seem to be the votes that they're going to squash in this whole election process. They're going to try to throw out votes cast by Black Americans. I don't know, but I prefer the truth over a lie. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you here next week. Thank you for spending your afternoon right here with us at Bill Myers Inspires. Remember, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Inspired Choices Network. Remember to take time this week to take a breath and look within yourself and figure out how you can make a positive difference in this world. Spread the word, and we'll see you here next Friday. Have a wonderful week.